Hey everyone, it's Kim Sparkle. Today I will be talking about this amazing, brilliant, and incredibly Tracy Beaker. I had to admit that Tracy Beaker is actually part of my childhood, as in I used to watch her as a kid. Um, that's only because I used to watch it on BBC because well, let's just say in my country, in United Kingdom, there is this sort of this thingy broadcast sort of thing called the BBC, as in they do all kinds of shows and films and all kinds. So, and that includes this, of course, Tracy Beaker. So, to be honest, I had to tell you everything that I know about Tracy Beaker. So, I shall tell you now. So, Tracy Beaker is basically, well, so first of all, it was actually a book in the 90s. So, if I remember correctly, it came out sometime in 1997, not long until like before or after when my sister was born. I just remember. So, and I was like, oh my God, it's nearly s- same age as my sister. Like Tracy Beaker is the same age as my own sister. You know what I mean? And I sometimes feel like Tracy Beaker can sometimes make me feel like, me inspired by her because sometimes I can be cheeky at times, but no cheeky, but mainly I'm very kind, thoughtful, I'm very cheerful, and sometimes I can get a little bit in let's just say like Moody Margaret from Horror Henry, of course, but not usually, of course. But mainly, like I said, I'm usually kind, sweet, um, well, very nice sort of person. S- And I am happy because I always happy because that's just let's just say it's part of my personality. So this, so to remind myself, this is not about me, of course. It's about Tracy Beaker. So let's just focus on Tracy Beaker. So Tracy Beaker is a character, well, a titular main character. It means it's because she's the main character of her own story, because that's just her name and she's the main character for her series and all that. So basically, she's actually a 10-year-old in the book, and she's also 10 in her original TV show called The Story of Tracy Beaker. And that came out in 2002. And, and that was when people decided to have someone to play as Tracy Beaker. And I know who plays Tracy Beaker was Dani Harmer. She is the best Tracy Beaker we all love of the UK and all that. Some of you from US or USA will probably have seen Tracy Beaker. Well, I mean, love Tracy Beaker like us UK do. So I respect you guys like Tracy Beaker, but mainly Tracy Beaker is actually from the UK, as in Tracy Beaker is British. Like I'm British. So the person who who owns the Tracy Beaker is Jacqueline Wilson. Jacqueline Wilson is a female author, and she's the owner and the founder of Tracy Beaker. And I don't know whether if I'm right, but I'm surely enough to tell you guys that I think Jacqueline Wilson did mention something about that Tracy Beaker was based on the girl that she knows or something. I don't know. I just got this in my head for some reason. I just don't know really know exactly because that just got into my head. So, and the guy who draws Tracy Beaker for the books, the cartoon version of Tracy Beaker, he he was Nick Sharratt. Is that how you said his name? I think I'm not really good how to pronounce people's name at times because it's really extremely hard to say the names, really. So I had to admit, Tracy Beaker is always been my favorite character of all times because she's the main character, and that's why it's always about Tracy Beaker because it's Tracy Beaker. And I know I keep saying her name a couple of times, but I just couldn't help it because sometimes Tracy can be a beaker, as in she couldn't stop being such a beaker because that's just her personality. I don't know whether if beaker is actually a meaning of a word, I don't know. Well, that's just her surname too, because people just know her as Tracy Beaker because that's just how her name was. So to believe me, Dani Harmer will always be the best Tracy Beaker that we all like, and it is kind of a bit sad that the original show of Tracy Beaker has ended in 2005, but luckily they bring back Tracy Beaker, but all grown up, and now she's a caretaker in a care house called um, Elm Tree House. I think that's how you call it anyway. I just remember the name. Um, and if I remember correctly, she has a close sort of father figure friend called Mike, and let's just say he's more like a father to all the other children as well. But I would say Tracy seems to like Mike than any other children likes. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when if you have sort of like a grown up friend and you might consider them as a friend or something, maybe sometimes you just like see them as a mother figure, father figure, sister or brother figure or something. I don't know. That's just how I can explain. And let's just say that all those storylines in each of the series, in the original one, Tracy Beaker Returns, the one I just mentioned just then, the one when Tracy was all grown up, and there's another show called The Dumping Ground. Well, that's what people usually call the care home, even though was okay. Let's get myself straight. It's actually called the dumping ground at times because it is a dumping ground because not all kids can have parents sometimes, as you can know, because sometimes parents can dump their own kids, and I do feel sorry for those kids. And sometimes you can, I, well, I don't know, but that's just all I know. So, so now you guys know about Tracy Beaker. Um, I would now tell you guys about the characters, my favorite episodes. Well, I want to talk about all the episodes, but not all of them. But I will share some of the thoughts that I like about the episodes. And I also will talk about ooh, my favorite moments, something like that. Yeah, okay. So, my favorite characters has to be, well, as you can see on the picture, Tracy Beaker. And I also like her, well, sort of like a friend and an enemy, but if you put those names together, it's called a frenemy. And her name is Justine Littlewood. Oh, I hate Justine Littlewood. She's such a, let's just say she's quite a bit jealous and a bit meany to Tracy at times. And let's just say she always likes to make a scene with Tracy. Well, towards Tracy, I mean. Because even though Tracy doesn't deserve all of the troubles that Justin keeps causing all the time, I actually do feel bad for Tracy for getting treated that way. Even though she can be a bully to Justine as well at times, but I hardly blame Tracy for that because I would say Justine should have kept uh, her bad loudmouth to herself. You know what I mean? So I also liked Tracy's. Well, she used to be Tracy's old friend. Well, I mean, best friend, but she's not really Tracy's best friend like right now. And her name is Louise, and she's now friends with Justine Littlewood. And I do sometimes either like Louise or hate Louise because let's just say she can act almost like Justine at times, like towards Tracy, which I kindly have to admit. I do sometimes like that Louise shouldn't be siding with Justine no matter what, really, because just because someone is being a bully to Tracy, it doesn't mean you have to be the bully. You know what I mean? Because it's not a good thing to do. Because sometimes you may, um, let's just say, if I could use those hula girls from Lilo and Stitch, for example, they actually can act mean to Lilo at times, but even though they have to act like they're mean, just to show Myrtle that they're not scared of Myrtle because they could just, well, let's just say that's just the thing. So even though that they are nice deep down in the hearts, but some of you guys may either agree or disagree, but let's just say we have different opinions and thoughts and something like that. And okay, so my favorite characters in the Tracy Beaker Returns, you've probably seen my post about it already, but that I like those three characters called Carmen, T, and Lily. But if I had to choose one, I would say Lily because she reminds me of Tracy when Tracy was a young kid. Because if I remember correctly, Lily lost her mom at a very young age, and she's an older sister to those two little girls called Rosie and Poppy. And I also remember about the father after when Lily's dad, her mom passed away. Her dad sort of become drunk, uh, sort of like abusive or something. I don't know exactly, but I just remember just how the story has, started from in the Trace of Beaker Returns. And and I do have to admit, Lily is the best character for the start because she's sort of like a younger version of Tracy Beaker. You know what I mean? Because I just like the personality of Lily because her charismatics and um her traits of her personalities and all kinds, and I do like sort of her own interest throughout the series. And I had to admit, I do like some of the episode from Tracy Beaker Returns with Lily's storyline, and and if I had to choose one, I had to say it has to be the episode called The Belong, and it's from season 3. And I remember very well, I feel so sad for Lily because she never gets to have her sisters to live with her and her dad anymore because let's just say because her sisters lives with those two adopted sort of couple um who can't have kids of their own. And even though that Poppy and Rosie sort of, well, I hardly blame them, but about I mean I meant that in season 2 they barely um like interact with Lily in the episode, well, the very first 2 episodes of season 2. Well, I just say part 1 because I feel sorry for Lily because she hasn't um let's just say her sisters barely talk to her and they barely play with her, and they seem to lost their interest in Lily's sort of like storytelling. Like when you like telling stories to like making them up, something like that, and like using your imagination. just like Tracy Beaker when she was younger. Because if I remember correctly, Tracy can sometimes can fib about her mom being famous, which is actually true because I remember watching the Tracy Beaker the movie, and that's how her mom came back to meet Tracy. And I had just to admit, I do feel sorry for Tracy the way she has to meet her mom that way, and and I hardly blame Tracy for that because she barely knows her mom since she was only like a young baby or something, or a kid. I don't know exact what age that Tracy was when her mom left her to be with her boyfriend. You know what I mean? So sorry about that. It's just sometimes I sometimes think some parents just think that they have rights to leave their children on their own just to go with the woo boyfriend, girlfriend, woo. You know what I mean? So I just find it a bit, you know, awkward. Well, that's just me. And 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 can I just say, if you're watching this too, Dani Harmer, I'm just hope you might like my video because I really like you. You're my best favorite actress who plays Tracy Beaker for all these years. And no matter what people say, I would say that you'll always be the best Tracy Beaker in the world. And sometimes to all of you guys who also know Dani Harmer, I had to tell you that we should always respect Dani Harmer as always, because she always will be our best Tracy Beaker. So, and well, sadly, in the dumping ground, Dani Harmer was never in the show, but luckily she did appear once in one of the later series. Um, for Mike's wedding, and I remember correctly, um, that was her very last episode. And I do miss Tracy Beaker after that. Well, including Dani Harmer, because we barely see Dani Harmer since she left after the series of Tracy Beaker Returns. And if I had to admit, I also like other characters like Jodie Jackson. She kind of reminds me of Tracy as well from time to time. But mainly, I think Lily's more like Tracy, in my opinion, if you guys know what I mean. If you have watched Tracy Baker like I do, I'm sure enough you can able to understand what I mean. And so let's just say, um, in the dumping ground, it's it's kind of a bit um awkward that we haven't seen Tracy Baker like no longer here because because everything won't be the same without Tracy Beaker because she is the best character and the best caretaker, or well, sort of like a friend or a big sister to everyone. If you know, I mean, if you know what I mean. So I just oh yeah, and just before I go, I got good news to show you guys that there is a brand new Tracy Beaker series called Tracy Beaker and Me, and well, not technically me, but it's just the name of the thing that I'm gonna tell you guys right now. It's actually about Tracy Beaker, like we're all grown up, but she's now um a mom, and she has a daughter called Jess, and she's a bit like Tracy Beaker, but she's quite an opposite to Tracy Beaker. She has a bit slightly a different personality to Tracy, but she can have a bit of sort of a little bit same personality to Tracy, but slightly different. But the difference is that she wears glasses. Mm. And I have to admit, I do think Jess is kind of cute, and 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 that girl who plays Jess in the TV show, I'm sure she likes my compliments. Well, I'm sure she does. I just hope. Anyway, I just hope you guys enjoy my video. And if you have any sort of questions about this video, or if you want to ask any question about, you know, more information about Tracy Beaker, if you want me to tell you more, you're always free to do so in the comments, okay? So, so no hesitation. As in, no hesitate, okay? Like, just try think before you could, well, I'll catch you guys later. Bye.